Hey guys, hope y'all are doing okay today. We'll try to do a video for you, a couple of them actually, on what you've done the last 2 days or what you've looked at. I've been trying to do this all morning. Hopefully we've gotten it correct this time. I did it once and posted it on Google Classroom. I went back and looked at the video after I'd posted it, and you could not see the work that I was doing on my document camera. So I have been working feverishly to get this corrected. Hopefully with this video will help you. I want us to be able to move on from this after this week. We should be able to get this covered. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to look at long division of polynomials first. We're going to start there, and hopefully you can see what I'm doing. It looks like it's still recording, so we're in pretty good shape. But again, we're looking at long division. This was the work from Monday in the example 1 in lesson 3-4. Okay, so let's just start with this problem. This one's not too bad. We're going to start with n cubed plus 8n squared plus 22n plus 21. Then we're going to divide that by n plus 3. Now, first of all, some things to point out. Number one, our divisor is n plus 3. The binomial divisor is n plus 3. We got it's a linear because there's no visible exponent. Now, if we were solving a quadratic, if you remember, we would set each solution equal to 0. n plus 3 is equal to 0, so n is equal to -3. That means that the root here is -3. That's going to become important to us. This is called our 0. This is our solution. Remember, solutions are zeros, roots, and x-intercepts. That's where the graph of our polynomial equation or function, that's where the graph touches or crosses the x-axis, right? So we've got, this is our divisor. Now, what we're going to do is put this into a division box, just as it appears. Remember, the polynomial goes underneath the division box, the dividend, and that's plus 21, and that's going to be divided by n plus 3. So we're ready to do long division. We want to divide the leading term of our dividend by the leading term of the divisor. Okay? N cubed divided by n. That's n squared. Now I'm going to take that n squared. Whatever I did, I divided the leading term by the leading term. And now I'm going to take that result, which is part of our quotient or our answer, and I'm going to multiply it times 3 and then by n. n squared times 3 is 3n squared. And that's a positive number. And then n squared times n is n cubed. And I'm going to put that in parentheses and I'm going to subtract it. It's just like regular division. Now we're using those parentheses because we're going to have to distribute that negative to be able to combine these terms. All right, now what happens when we n cubed minus n cubed? That'll be 0. Those are done away with. Now we have 8n squared minus 3n squared. The result is 5n squared. Bring down your next term, and again, do what we did the first time. Divide the leading term by the leading term. 5n squared divided by n would be 5n. So I put plus 5n because I had division of positives. Now 5n times 3 is 15n. And that's going to be a positive. And then 5n times n is 5n squared. And again, in parentheses, and I'm subtracting those terms. That makes that 5n squared minus 5n squared. So those are eliminated because they add up to 0. And 22 minus 15 is 7n. Bring down to 21. And again, divide the leading term divided by the leading term. 7n divided by n is 7. And it's going to be plus 7 because it's positive. 7 times 3 is 21. And it's positive because I multiplied positive numbers. 7 times n is 7n. And again, in parentheses, and I'm subtracting these terms. 7n minus 7n is 0. Those are eliminated. 21 minus 21 is 0. This is my remainder. So that problem is done, and my quotient is n squared plus 5n plus 7. That's my quotient, okay? So hopefully that helped. Hopefully this will help. We're going to look at a couple of more problems, and it's going to be the same process every time. That's the great thing about it. Is once you get this process down, it doesn't change. So here's the next problem we want to do. N cubed minus 8n squared plus 3, and that is divided by n minus 8. Okay? The n minus 8 is our divisor. Now let's look at our first dividend. What's going to go underneath the box, right? We're going to make a division box right here. Now, before we put that number in, we have to make sure that all of the exponents of n are represented. And we have n cubed, we have minus 8n squared. We do not have a linear term, okay? There is no n with no visible exponent, all right? There is no n to the first power. So when I put this underneath, I'm going to put n cubed minus 8n squared plus 0n plus 3, and then all that's going to be divided by n minus 8. Remember, I had to represent the exponent of 1 when I put my dividend under the divisor. When I put my dividend underneath the division box. So we're ready to go now. And again, how do we begin? Leading term divided by leading term. N cubed divided by n is n squared. N squared times 8 minus 8n squared. N squared times n is n cubed. Put those in parentheses. Put that minus sign out front. That makes that n cubed minus n cubed, and those are eliminated because they add up to 0. Now I've got negative 8n squared, and I've got minus a minus. Minus a minus is plus, always. Minus a minus is plus. So that makes that plus 8n squared. Minus 8n squared plus 8n squared is 0. And I got plus 0n plus 3. So there's no leading term except for the 3. So this is our remainder. Okay? And we're going to put our remainder just like we did back when we first learned how to divide. We're going to put our remainder over the divisor. So the solution to this, or the quotient for this problem, is n squared plus 3 over n minus 8. Okay, and if you go back and look at your examples from your lesson, you're going to see that anytime they had a remainder, it was written over the divisor. Okay? Now, we have one more problem to do. Let me tear this page off, and we're going to turn this over. And we'll go at it from there. And it does that to me. How about that? All right. So here's our next problem. N cubed minus, I started writing down the wrong problem, writing down the one we just got through doing. I apologize. X to the fourth minus 4x cubed plus 12x squared minus 3x plus 6 divided by x squared plus 8. Okay? Now, we're going to put this into our division box. But before we do, first of all, we have to make sure that all exponents are accounted for. 4, 3, 2, 1. So we got that done. And then the other thing we need to be paying attention. Granted, this is an x squared, but the coefficient is still 1, and we have our 0 right here, okay? So anyway, x squared plus 8 is our divisor, goes on the outside, and then our polynomial goes on the inside. And we have all exponents accounted for, so we're ready to go. Divide the leading term by the leading term. X to the fourth divided by x squared is x squared. And so now I multiply it, I get x squared times 8. That'd be 8x squared. Now I need to put that underneath the like term. And I multiplied two positives, so that's plus 8x squared. And then I got x squared times x squared gives me x to the fourth. And again, I put that under its like term. Those are in parentheses, and I'm subtracting. That becomes minus x to the fourth, so that adds up to 0. Those are eliminated. I've got to bring down minus 4x cubed, and I've got to subtract 8x squared from 12x squared, and that's going to give me plus 4x squared. Okay? Go ahead and bring down the next term. That's just the way you do it when you divide. You bring down the next number when you're dividing numbers, and when you're doing polynomials, you bring down the next term. So what is the leading term divided by the leading term? Negative 4x cubed divided by x squared. That's going to give me minus 4x. Okay? Negative 4x cubed divided by x squared will give me a result of minus 4x. So now I multiply negative 4x times 8 will give me minus 32x, right? And negative 4x times x squared will give me minus 4x cubed. And again, put it in parentheses and subtract. Minus and minus is plus, so I got negative 4x cubed plus 4x cubed. Those are eliminated because they add up to 0. I bring down my 4x squared, and negative 3x plus 32x will give me 29x. Okay? Gives me plus 29x, and I bring down my last term, and now I'm ready to divide my leading terms. And 4x squared divided by x squared is going to give me plus 4. 4 times 8 is 32. And 4 times x squared is going to give me 4x squared. Put those in parentheses and subtract. Apply my negatives. 4x squared minus 4x squared is eliminated. 29x comes down, and 6 minus 32 is minus 26. All right, so this is my remainder. Why? It is my remainder because 29x cannot be divided by x squared. So I can't go any further. So my answer, my quotient is x squared minus 4x plus 4 plus 29x minus 26 over x squared plus 8. And this is my quotient. Okay? So there's 3 pretty good examples. Hopefully you got those written down, and so you'll have something to refer back to as we move ahead. But you also have, I put up a couple of graphic organizers for you for long division and synthetic division. So those are on Google Classroom today, and you've got those to refer to along with your examples that are in the book. And I'm gonna shut this down and we'll do another video for you for synthetic division in just a moment. Y'all have a good day. See you, bye. And that'll do it.